If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that.
Phones searched, students doxxed, professors fired, green cards revoked, and people arrested during their own citizenship interviews, not for crimes, but for speaking up about Palestine. This is the United States. Historically, the US has prided itself on its commitment to free speech, even when that speech challenges the government. Yet when it comes to Palestine, that freedom appears conditional. And it's not just activists. Regular people are facing serious consequences for simply wearing a keffiyeh, posting a watermelon emoji, or even saying they're against the war in Gaza.
My first week back in the Oval Office, my administration will inform every college president that if you do not end anti-Semitic propaganda, they will lose their accreditation and federal taxpayer support. Truth is, you don't have to do much after that. When you do that, it's going to work miracles.
From the early days of Palestinian solidarity movements to the recent campus protests, dissent over US foreign policy in the Middle East has been met with increased repression. While the US historically denounced other countries for cracking down on free speech and protests abroad, it now seems to be criminalizing these same actions at home, especially when it comes to Palestine. So what has changed? And how did the land of the free become a place where advocacy for Palestine could cost a person their job, visa, and even freedom? Over 3,100 people, mostly students, have been arrested on US campuses for pro-Palestinian protests since the start of Israel's genocidal war on Gaza on October 7, 2023. The US government's response to criticism of Israel has extended beyond campuses, however. In New York, a nurse named Hassan Jabir was fired after saying, "My people in Gaza are being slaughtered," during a speech at a healthcare awards ceremony. Google also fired 50 employees protesting against the company's contractual work with Israel. Numerous pro-Palestinian students have faced immigration consequences. Columbia graduate Mahmoud Khalil, also a legal US resident, was detained by immigration officers after speaking out against the genocide on the Ivy League campus.
Mahmoud Khalil was an individual who was given the privilege of coming to this country to study at one of our nation's finest universities and colleges. And he took advantage of that opportunity, of that privilege, by siding with terrorists.
The government argued his activism posed foreign policy risks. Rumeysa Öztürk, a Fulbright scholar from Turkey, was also detained after writing an op-ed that was critical of Israel. While Palestinian student Mohsen Mahdawi was detained during his naturalization process over his activism.
Why would any country in the world allow people to come and disrupt? Now, we gave you a visa to come and study and get a degree, not to become a social activist that tears up our university campuses. Every time I find one of these lunatics, I take away their visa.
Other US protest movements, like those for Black Lives Matter or climate justice, have seen arrests, but they did not lead to mass firings, blacklists, or deportations. Many pro-Palestinians in the US report being evicted, losing their scholarships, and being terminated from their jobs. Some have even gone into hiding, while others are changing their names, worried they'll be blacklisted for life. More than 35 states have passed laws against movements promoting boycotts, divestments, and economic sanctions against Israel. No similar law exists for any other global issue. In the US, you can criticize any other country, including the US itself, but criticizing Israel, off limits. Free speech is the heartbeat of the American dream, but these days, that pulse is under pressure. If speaking the truth about Palestine lands you in handcuffs, and freedom is the felon, then democracy itself is the defendant on trial.